Well, that's not good. And that's definitely not good. Back here today in Middlebury, Indiana, picking up a trailer going to Gilroy, California. And I wanted to show you guys, always double check if it comes in. If you got a trailer like that against your trailer, check, double check, recheck, and make sure that it didn't get against your trailer. I mean, I can't even fit through there. So that's pretty close, but doesn't look like it touched. I walked around and checked it out. I didn't see anything really, except for one little spot on the other side, and it wiped off. I come right down through here, and like I said, I've already looked this over, and that made me really nervous that they put that right there. But there was a spot right here. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it did rub off. This is going to wash off. So I'm not just terribly concerned about that. But if it didn't, I'm not really sure what that is. But I'm going to go ahead and get hooked up and torque my lug nuts, check my tires. So hooking up my battery, and I realized I can't even get in that door to get my paperwork out or anything. I can't get to the controls or anything. So now I've got to move this one to get at that one. Just whoever dropped this here wasn't thinking. Open the doors, lights are on. Get right here in this. Paperwork. Make sure extra focus. Pulled out, got everything done up that I need to get done. Looks like we're ready to go. Just kind of looking everything over one more time, and don't really see any issues. There was another couple here that I was talking to. It was their first day, just came through orientation. I don't see anything falling off the truck, so I guess we're ready to go. Good morning, guys. It is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Doing a little bit of a pre-trip. All my lights, all that stuff. Getting ready to leave out of Joplin here with the petrol. And kind of looking everything over, checking everything out. Just leaving Joplin. Today is Friday the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I was going to record some yesterday, but my microphones, I guess whenever I went to the record games, I was snatching and pulling on the cord that goes from my microphone to my phones. And apparently I messed that cord up, so I'm going to get another one of those. But I recorded some video, but there was no audio, so that's frustrating. I was going to say on that, where I got up there and had to move that trailer to get this one out, I really doubt that was one of our pull-in drivers that put that trailer right there. The more I thought about it, the more it just made sense that they just don't do stuff like that, because anybody would know that you can't get into my trailer and get it out. I feel like that was another driver that needed to move the trailer for whatever reason and just wasn't thinking. But, you know, I said in an earlier video, last year at this time we were having to move units consistently to get our units out, and that's a good problem to have versus the problem we've had over the past few months where there's no units to be had. So it's not complaining, just made me really nervous when I saw how close it was that there was going to be damage, you know, that they may have touched or something like that. But if that's all it is it took less than 10 minutes to move that trailer. Not going to complain about it. But if you get in a situation, if you're you're doing this and you go up and you have to move a trailer to get yours out, don't put it, make sure you don't, definitely make sure not to get so close that if you're close enough that you want, somebody else looks at, wonders if there's damage, then that's probably too close. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Make sure, and especially when there's that much room in the yard, give yourself plenty of room. Give the next guy plenty of room. But the record games, I had a blast at the record games. It was awesome. If you're into that kind of stuff, I don't know if it's going to be an annual thing or if that was a one-off or whatever, but I highly recommend going, especially if you follow some of the channels out there. BSF Recovery, Matt's Off-Road Recovery, Moab Motorsports, Matt's Fab Rats, Send It Ruby. There was a lot of different channels out there that I watch. So, and none of them let me down. They were all absolutely awesome, especially Mischief Maker. If you guys keep up with Mischief Maker, and I doubt a lot of you do, but I feel like some of you do. Walter, he was freaking awesome. He didn't get on camera. I hadn't seen him on camera a lot, but he was absolutely great person to talk to. He was pretty out, but both of them were. And heck, all of them were. The only people that I didn't get to meet and actually walk up and talk to was Matt from Matt's Off-Road Recovery, because the line was so stinking long. I mean, it wrapped plumb around the parking lot. And I don't think I ever actually got to talk with Roy from Moab Motorsports, because he seemed to be constantly moving around and he had a crowd following him too. So, but yeah, they were all absolutely great. If you get a chance to do that, if they do it again next year, highly recommend it. But yeah, as far as my plans for today, Amarillo later on to get fuel, and then Russell's, and had a lot of wind yesterday, but it wasn't bad. It was just a lot of it. It had you wondering if it was going to get worse. I think it was like 29 mile an hour gusts, which if it's hitting you right is not a big deal. If it's hitting you wrong, it's a very big deal. And it was just catching me from an angle that I don't know, it had me leery about if it got any worse, if I was going to need to slow, stop or something. It wasn't that bad at that point, but it made me feel like, judging from the windy app, it looked like it could get worse, but it didn't. It actually died off, so that was a good deal. I was worried a little bit about wind today, but from the looks of it, it should be okay. But it changes on a whim. All the apps are good for reference, windy, wind compass, all that stuff. But they can all be wrong. They can all be wrong at the same time. You just kind of never know. You kind of got to judge it as you get there, and just, like I say, use it as a point of reference. But it all worked out, and it was calm getting down there. I believe it's going to be calm today. I don't know. It looked like the possibilities there for this to be a pretty smooth ride. I'm hoping so. Anyway, I'm going to put this thing down and get ready to pay my first toll and get on down toward Amarillo. So the officer's back here doing the paperwork on my inspection, and I have got to say this has been one of the nicest officers I've ever ran across in my 20 plus years of trucking. He has been awesome, all the way up to answering questions, looking the truck over, everything. Just his personality is absolutely great. I don't want to put his name on here because I don't want to invade nobody's privacy or anything like that, but Oklahoma, this one's a good one. But he did say that he didn't find anything wrong with the truck or trailer, and he's gonna get me a new sticker for my windshield, which I haven't had one on this windshield yet. So that'll be good. Once you get that sticker on your windshield, they look at it and they say, well, he just got inspected, and chances are they won't bother you as long as that sticker's the right color. But yeah, it's always nerve-wracking at first when you see those lights light up behind you. But once the officer comes up and he's got a good attitude, always keep a good attitude. Even if he doesn't have a good attitude, still keep a good attitude. It goes a long ways. It'll get you a lot further than you think. Even if the officer's not having the greatest day, or just being an ass. I've had that happen over the years, but it's fewer and further between every day. And when I got out of a big truck into a RV transport, the whole demeanor when I do get stopped has changed. And I've only been DOT'd a few times, but so far they've been awesome all few times, 3-4 times. Pretty windy out. I just fueled up and went in and took a shower here at the Petro in Kingman, Arizona. So earlier I was in line waiting to get fuel, and this come on. Now I've had an intermittent position 1 knock sensor code come up, but I cleared it a couple times. It would take 2 or 3 weeks to come back, and now it's on, and so is the service emission lights on. So when I pull the codes, the ECM code is what I'm looking for, and it is the ECM P11DB. And the last time I had that code, it was the position 1 knock sensor. And I feel pretty sure it is the position 1 knock sensor again on this go around. The light it came on, I cleared it, drove it for a week or so, maybe even two weeks, sometimes 3, and it would come back on. Very rarely did it come on like one day and then come right back on the next. But I figure that's what my issue is. And there was a gentleman sent me a box of parts not long ago that had just miscellaneous L5P parts in it, some filters and stuff like that. And he did send me a position 1 knock sensor, and I tried to change it out when I started getting the code. And this right here, talking about exhaust fluid system and service emissions and all that came up as soon as I swapped to that sensor. I put my sensor back in, it didn't come back on for almost 2 weeks. I think it was right at 2 weeks. So anyway, he did tell me when he sent it to me that the knock sensors were off Amazon. They were just not GM knock sensors, so that's why I always stick with the GM original parts. But yeah, so the only thing I can figure is I will start driving. It says 98 miles to 65 miles an hour max speed, and by that time I'll be in California, and the speed limit's 55 for anything pulling a trailer. So that's not going to be an issue. Hopefully I can get this trailer off, and then I'll find a dealership and pick up a knock sensor. That's the plan. I'm here at a rest area in California on 40, and it has limited me back to 65 miles an hour. Well, one of you guys sent me a box of parts, and this is one of the parts that was in the box, and it says, I don't see the name brand on it, but it does say manufactured in America. Continental, made in USA. Now to look at it, it doesn't look like it has been installed at all. But I put this in last week, and mine wasn't really having any problems. It was just throwing a every now and again code saying that the knock sensor was having issues. And it does say position 1 front on it on the bottom, so it should be the correct one. Now I've just decided, sitting here at the rest area, I've just decided I'm gonna go ahead and change this knock sensor, because it can't be any worse than what I got now. What the truck is doing now is exactly what it started doing when I plugged this one in. But maybe if I plug this one in, drive it a little bit, who knows. But I've been looking around. It's Sunday. I haven't really found anything as far as a new one. Up around Gilroy, where I'm going, I found one. It was supposedly a dealer's got one up there for $440. And then if I get one in Victorville, it's $239. That's about what I gave for my first one. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and put this in and see how it goes. I don't expect it to do any better, but who knows. Here's what it's doing when I start it up. See the little def light right there? And then you got the exhaust fluid system. See, owner's manual now. Speed reduced. 71 miles to speed reduced again. That's what bothers me. And I've heard you can unplug the speed sensor and that will allow you to go on down the road, but I don't know. So start it up. And that's what I got. But anyway, it wasn't showing this before that I recall, but we're going to change it out, put it in, and make sure there's no codes, because it's not even showing a code right now. But we're going to do this and see what happens. Alright, I'm sorry if the audio's bad, but what I'm going to be doing on the knot sensor on the 2018, there's a 10 millimeter nut right here, there's another 10 millimeter nut right underneath, and then you got the cord that goes across to that sensor right there. That's what we're taking off. And it looks just like this, the two 10 millimeter bolts right here, and then this. Here is a good picture of this one for you guys, and I'll do the same when I take the other one off. Now, like I say, I have already put this one in once. The other one wasn't given all these codes, and it didn't like it. Let's try it again. With this one being, we did get a check engine light right there. Let's see what that is. Come over here to the auto sync. Next page, read DTCs, and I can do this from the auto sync or the edge, but I would prefer to do it from here. Now, let me close this door so we can hear a little better. Now the auto sync reads every module on the truck. That's why you're getting EBCM codes and HMI codes, radio codes, and all that. It's not just giving me ECM codes. We'll go to next page. ECM U029D current. So we'll look that up and check that. Next page. There it is again, same one. I can zoom in just a little bit more for you guys. U029D. That's not one that I have before. That just started when I put this NOx sensor in. But the code that I was getting, the oh Lord, I can't remember what it is now, the P11DB or whatever it was that was referring to the NOx sensor, it's not here now. Anyway, I'm gonna drive it a little bit with this sensor in versus the other one. I'll clear the codes and see what comes back. So I did a little look up on that code, the PU, I don't remember what it was, y'all saw it, 29D or whatever the heck it was, and it was saying that the NOx sensor lost communication with the ECM. So I feel like this one has definitely got issues, but so did the one I just took out. And either way, my speed is limited to 65 miles an hour, so may as well give it a try for just a little bit and see what happens. And it didn't take that long. I can always ease back over and change them back out. So anyway, we'll ease on along and see how this holds out, see what comes up. So it's about 9 o'clock at night. I limped on up to Peggy Sue's Diner, and a friend of mine came all the way up 3 hours and brought me this. So we're hoping we're gonna stick this in right quick, because it is down to, what, 40 miles, and it reduces me to 5 miles an hour. So we're gonna put this in. Well, there it is. I think we're done. Check her out. Yeah, that's what scared me. That depth light was flashing. It'll probably start flashing again. Yeah, see? Okay, it's not picked up the reading yet from the computer. Can give it a minute, and hopefully all that crap will go away as soon as it gets a reading. Just fired it up this morning. Everything seems happy again. No flashing lights, no check engine light. Today is Monday the 20th, and we're on I-5 headed up to Gilroy to get unloaded. And my buddy Tyler saved my butt. He drove 3.5 hours, three and a half hours up to bring me that knock sensor last night. Now I had one ordered. It would have been at O'Reilly's at 1 o'clock, but that one, what the price they gave me on that one was $340, which is not a big deal if they could have got it. And I would prefer to go back with the, you know, OEM part, but I couldn't make it to a dealer. And he had the same name brand part they were going to sell me at O'Reilly's, and he gave a fraction of that for it. He got it off Rock Auto, and the part number is NOX007. I'll try to get a picture of that box and put it in here. But anyway, he brought it up, we put it in, and all the codes went away. Only the permanent codes remained. Drove it about 10 miles around the block, still wouldn't go back right. Now I talked to a friend of mine who is a mechanic by trade, and he told me whenever I put that in to make sure and do a forced reach-in, a service reach-in on it. Well, I didn't want to do that because I was sitting there around all those sleeping truck drivers and RVers and all that stuff. I didn't want this thing sound like a jet airplane trying to take off in the middle of the parking lot while they were trying to sleep. So I didn't do it. I took it on a road, a test drive, and by the time I got back, I had 8 miles left until I was limited to 5 miles an hour. And really aggravated. It was really late. My buddy was on his way home, and I was talking to him, and I found a place on the shoulder I could pull over, and I went ahead and did the service reach-in. And after the reach-in completed, I let it sit and run for probably 5 minutes. I actually moved it around, put it back in the parking spot because I didn't think I was going anywhere, and everything went away. It was all happy. So if I would have put the knock sensor on like my buddy told me to, ran the service reach-in like he told me to, I would have been on my way probably an hour and a half faster. But I didn't have a problem with that. I wanted to do that. I just didn't want to do it right there in the parking lot with all those sleeping trucks, you know. So trying to be considerate and stuff. Well, we're here in Gilroy, California. Happy Days RV. They just want us to pull right up here along the fence, right outside the gate, getting us checked in. No wonder this thing seems so heavy. It's got all kind of slide outs on it. Yep. We'll get finished up here and get on our way. So unloaded, headed out of Gilroy, and this 152 across through here. This road in places is very rough, but it is an absolutely gorgeous ride. I don't think I've ever been through here before. And getting to Gilroy, if you're taking one out there, you know, with the construction and all that, especially if you look it up on Google Maps and you do the street view and you see all the construction barrel stuff sitting around, it's not nothing to worry about. It was actually pretty easy to get in. I meant to get on camera and I didn't, but yeah, a good place to deliver. One thing I kind of want to talk about is I had some friends this week who kind of got pressured into taking a load that they didn't really want. There were reasons they didn't want it. They just weren't comfortable with it. It was heavy. It was not something they were comfortable with taking. And if somebody tries to push you into stuff like, I don't care if you're in an 18-wheeler or pickup truck, I don't care what you're doing. If you're not comfortable with something, you know, don't do it. They were, I don't know how to put it, they were put into a position where it seemed like the best thing at the time was just go ahead and suck it up and do it that one time and all, but they've been stressed out all week. and I hate that for them. And if they're watching, they know who they are. I'm not gonna call out anybody's names or anything like that. Just know that it's okay to say no. You know, chances are, even on, you know, if it's your first day, or if you haven't been somewhere that long, you know, it may be kind of maybe kind of putting yourself in a position, but I would rather put myself in a position and wind up going to another job than getting myself put into a position where I'm pressured really bad and stressed out all freaking week long. But now what they're doing, I've done before, and it doesn't bother me that bad to do what they did. It's not anything that's like highly illegal or something like that. It's just, you know, something they weren't comfortable with. But anyway, there's that. And I saw on Facebook where a guy got hit in a parking lot. Always pay special close attention to where you're parking. You never know what kind of crazies are going to be flying through there. And no matter how close of attention you pay, it can still always happen to you. You know, remember that. So when if you think you're in a good spot, when my truck was breaking down yesterday, there was a spot out on 40 that I could have parked, and it was wide open parking. But I know how that place gets at night. I've seen it at night, and it gets packed like sardine can. And I didn't want to be in there whenever all that started going on. You know, I didn't want to be in there when that got packed so deep. Isn't that a view? Look, isn't that gorgeous, y'all? But yeah, just always try to pay extra attention. As soon as you get comfortable and content, I've been doing this long enough, it doesn't take long after you've done the same thing, going to the same places over and over and over again, to get content and comfortable doing what you're doing, and that's usually when things happen. I feel really bad for the guy that got hit. He didn't do anything wrong. It just wasn't his day. You know, it just bad luck. But anyway, I wished I would have saw that San Luis Reservoir State Recreation Area. I wish I'd have saw that pull off back there. But anyway, big thanks to Taylor for bringing me the knock sensor. Like I say, I'll try to put a picture of that sensor up, of the GM part number and the box, the one that he brought. And so far it is working excellent. And you know, big thanks to him, and anything that I don't get to put up on screen will be in the links in the description. So anyway, guys, that's about it for this video. What I thought was going to be a very boring ride turned out to be a pretty aggravating, pretty interesting ride. You know, with the DOT inspection, yes, I did get my sticker. Then the trouble with the truck, and I learned some new stuff with the AUTEL. And anytime I do something like that, I'm gonna force a regen afterwards just to make sure everything's cleared out. And, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.